All right. Today. Yeah, today. It's going to be interesting. Again, remember, this is not something that you're going to see a whole lot of, but it will pertain to a couple of questions on your test. So we do have to expose you to them. Now, the notes part, which is the part that I just passed out to you that has the front and the back, and then one other extra sheet, is like the describing, like the notes part is exactly the same for every one of these. So it's very redundant when it comes to that part. All right, so it says identify every section of the graph, and you can label them to keep track. So they've labeled, we're going to identify it with color. So you're going to pick one color for increasing, one color for decreasing, and one color for constant. So that is why you need 3 different colors. So mark down intervals by using, or intervals of x using an inequality or the word 2. But some graphs may not have numbers at all. So that part is a little bit confusing, but once we get to that section of the notes, it'll make a little bit more sense. You're essentially writing an inequality from the increase, the decrease, or the constant. And then step number 3, determine if the graph is linear or nonlinear. Now, how do we know if a graph is nonlinear? What is it not? Say it that way.
If the line test goes through it only once.
Okay, but all those lines, whether they're positive, negative, constant, not positive, negative, 0, or undefined, they're all what kind of lines? Look back in your notes. Look back in your notes and look at every single graph that we've identified as a positive, a negative, a 0, or an undefined. What do all of those lines look like? They're all what? Straight. Okay, so a nonlinear line is not straight. Okay, so if at any point in time you see a line that has a curve, it is a nonlinear line. All right, step number 4 says look at the graph from left to right. So you're always going to start here, and you're always going to end here. So you're always starting on the left side of your graph, you're always ending on the right side of your graph. And then you're going to describe the slope / rate of change. And you're going to use increasing, decreasing, or the word constant. All right, thumbs up when you have this copy down. All right, so we are going to essentially do the steps that we just wrote, and this is going to be the information we fill out. This is going to be the graph that we're going to use. So, and you need to pick for increasing. I just want you to highlight what color you're going to use for the rest of the day. So you will always use whatever color you just highlighted increasing with for the rest of the day. You're going to highlight decreasing. with a different color. That's what you're going to use for the rest of the day. And then constant, highlight with a third color, and that is what you're going to use for the rest of the day. All right, so decreasing. So this line from -4 to -2, is that increasing or decreasing? From -4 to -2, did we increase on this line or did we decrease? Okay, I have a question. Is it going bottom to top or top to bottom? So if I start right here and I draw my line, like I trace my line, did I go up or did I go down? Down. So therefore it is what?
Decreasing.
It's decreasing. Okay, so that is a decreasing line. All right, what about from -2 to 0? Is that increasing or decreasing? So from here to here. Increasing. Okay, from 0 to 2, decreasing. And from 2 to 4, increasing. All right, so section A, you're looking at where the line starts and stops. So the line starts at -4. Does everybody see that? So it starts at -4 and it ends at what number? -2. -4 is less than -2, right? Do we all agree? And is it a straight line? So then it is linear. So far, does that make sense? Okay. Now, section B. We know that it starts in -2 because that's where it ended. And then, where does it end? Now be careful with this. Where does it end? Jeff, not on 1. We're looking at just the Y's. So where does it end?
0.
Who said it?
0.
0. Yeah. Because remember, like this is your Y, this is a Y, this is a Y, so on and so forth. So you're only looking at where it ends. So it started -2 and it ended on 0. Does that make sense? Because we're only looking at the vertical lines right now. We're not looking at any of the X's or anything. All right, is that a straight line? Yes or no?
Yes.
Last time I checked, it was a straight line. So then therefore it is what? Linear. All right, so C starts at 0. Where does it end? 2. Is it a straight line?
Miss Annie,
Yes, ma'am.
you have Richard.
Yes.
He's checking out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here, this is your homework. You really need to, at least go on and copy the notes down tonight. Just because, like I said, there's 2 questions on your test on Wednesday. All right, so it starts at 0, ends at 2. Doesn't matter that it's a -2 or a -1, sorry. Because why? What are we looking at? Are we looking at the Y's or are we looking at the X's? Just the Y's. Okay? And then the last one, we start at 2 and it ends at what? 4. And is it linear? How do you know? Because it's a straight line. Bye, Richard. All right, section A. Are we increasing or decreasing? Or is it constant? Huh? Decreasing, because we're going down. Okay, section B. Are we increasing or decreasing? If nothing else, look at your colors that you coded. Increasing. Section C,
Decreasing.
and section D. All right, thumbs up if you're good to go and we can move on. All right, every single one of these that we're gonna do for the rest of the day are exactly like this. Like this is just a drill and kill, get the basic of this and move on. All right, so sliding over to the next graph. So looking at that graph compared to the first graph we did, what do you already notice that is different? What do you already notice based off of the first graph that we did to the second graph that we did? Like, what do you notice already? Sebastian?
There's non-linear lines
Right, and how do you know they're nonlinear?
because they're curved.
Because they're curved. All right, so that's going to be something different from the first one that we did. All right, so step number 1, what do we have to identify? All the sections. Okay, and again, you can label them if it helps. We're going to color code. All right, we have to mark down intervals. And then we have to determine if the line is linear or nonlinear. All right, step number 4, how do we look at a graph? Ariana,
From left to right.
what are we trying to describe? What are we trying to describe? It's all on the left side.
Linear
Jeffrey,
slope.
or
Rate of change.
rate of change. And then what are the 3 words that we're using to describe our slope or rate of change today? Nevaeh,
Increasing, decreasing, or constant.
all right, so line A, is that increasing, decreasing, or constant? Raise your hand. Increasing, decreasing, or constant? So from here to there. Ben,
Increasing.
increasing. All right. Section B, increasing, decreasing, or constant? Ryan?
Decreasing.
It is decreasing. Even though it is not linear, we know that it's not linear, it's still decreasing, and we're still going to have to identify that. All right, what about section C? What do you notice? Soraya? It's increasing. And what do we notice about D? It's decreasing. All right, so the intervals for section A. So I'm gonna give it a try. What are the 2 numbers that section A starts at and ends at? Audrey.
-7 and -4.
All right, and -7 is less than -4. And is it linear or non-linear?
Linear.
Linear. And how do you know?
Because -4 is greater than -7, and it's a straight line.
All right, section B. What are the 2 numbers? So where does it start? Where does it end? Ariana.
-4 and 0.
Okay, and again, it starts here, ends here. Linear or non-linear?
Non-linear.
How do you know?
Because it's not a straight line.
All right, section C. Wants to give it a try. Anthony, what are the two numbers? So where do we start? Where do we end for section C? Looking at just the Y's. Where does section C start? Where does it end?
Oh, we're 0 and 2.
Mm-hmm. All right, and is it linear or non-linear?
Non-linear.
How do you know?
There's not sure.
All right, and then section D. Brielle, where does it start? Where does it end?
It starts at 2. That's 6.
And is it linear or non-linear? How do you know? Okay. All right, and then the bottom section A, B, C, D. So A, is it increasing or decreasing? Increasing. B, decreasing. C, and D. All right. Seems pretty easy, right? Flip it over. All right, so the steps are still the same, but the graph is going to be a little bit different this time. So step 1, what do we have to identify? The sections. All right, step 2, we have to mark down what? The intervals. Step 3, we have to determine if the graph is what? Section 4, we have to look from what to what? And we're describing the what? And which words are we using to describe the slope or rate of change? Cam? Nope. What 3 words are we using to describe the slope? Look on the front side.
Increasing, decreasing, and constant.
Yep. All right, what do you notice different about this graph compared to the first 2 graphs that we've done? Anthony?
You're only on like one section of the graph.
You what? Say that again.
Like one section of the graph. Like you're not on like a full.
What is that one section called? Do you remember?
Is it?
I mean, it's all positive, but like what quadrant is it?
2?
Nope. Nope. Just all of them? Just throw it all out there? Sebastian, what is it? Quadrant 1. All right, so this one, it's in one quadrant compared to all 4 quadrants. What else do you notice about it that's different from the other 2 graphs that we did? Nevaeh. There's a constant. How do you know it's a constant? Right, because it's not increasing or decreasing, right? All right, so let's go ahead and identify. So section A is going to be increasing. Section D is going to be decreasing or increasing. Section B decreases, and section C is our constant. go ahead and add those little arrows to your graph as well. I don't think I did that one last time. All right, what are the intervals for section A? Where do we start? Where do we end for that line? Ben.
0 and 2.
Okay, Ben, is it a linear or non-linear?
Linear,
How do you know?
because it's a straight line.
Okay. All right, section B. Raiden, where do we start? Where do we end?
From 5,
Where do we start?
5,
Where do we start?
2, and 5.
So we start here, end here. All right, Raiden, is it,
Linear,
how do you know?
because it's a straight line.
All right, section C. Bash. Where do we start? Where do we end?
5. We start at 5 and end at 8.
Okay.
It's linear,
How do you know?
because it's a straight line.
Okay. And the last one. Nico.
Start 8 or 9.
And
It's linear.
how do you know?
It's a straight line.
All right. Section A, B, C, and D. I want you guys to do that on your own real quick. That should be pretty easy. Thumbs up when you're done. All right, Jasmine, section A, is it increasing, decreasing, or constant?
Increasing.
Okay. Section B, Ryan, increasing, decreasing, or constant?
Decreasing.
Pushing. Section C, increasing, decreasing, or constant? Ben.
It is constant.
And section D, Ellie. All right, the next one I want y'all to do as a group. Okay, if you're not sitting with anybody, you can join somebody. But I want you guys to fill out the 2 sections, and then I want you to label your graph with your colors, and then do the bottom box. Stand up when you're finished. So you're working together, guys. So I should hear a little bit of conversation. You finished everything?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Nope, I'm gonna come around in a second.
thought someone did that in that one song. It's easy.
Is that your sweatshirt that's out there? There's a little bit more. And you need to have colors and stuff. Like, and you can finish the other side. So all of this needs to be filled out. All of it. All of it needs to be filled out. Guys, these are notes, and I know like it's super redundant to write the steps every single time, but there's a reason. All right, let's go ahead and go over this. All right, Anthony, walk me through my graph first.
Alright, so increasing
Okay?
and decreasing.
Can you give me more like specific other than just increasing like section A, B, C?
Section C is constant,
Okay?
and section D is increasing.
Okay. Even though it's a curved line?
Yeah,
Okay?
but it's not doing that.
Okay. All right. Cam, give me the intervals for section A and B and tell me if they're linear or non-linear.
So, section A is -5 and -2. And it's linear,
How do you know?
very straight line.
Okay.
And then section B is -2 and 0, and it's linear,
How do you know?
that's a straight line.
Perfect. All right. And then let me get Nico. Give me section C and D.
There's a 0 to 3,
Okay.
and it's linear.
How do you know?
It's a straight line.
Okay.
Section B is 3 to 7, and it's not linear.
How do you know?
It's not a straight line.
Okay. Good job. All right. And then section A, B, C, and D. Ryan.
Section A is increasing.
Okay.
Section B is decreasing.
Okay.
C is constant.
Okay.
Section D is increasing.
Perfect. All right. So, how do you guys feel? Feel pretty good? All right, you guys are doing the next two on on your third page. You're doing the next two. You can work as a partner, group, whatever you want, or you can work independently. I'm gonna come around with a staple so you guys can staple your papers together. Go ahead and staple your papers for the first one we did on top, please. Did you staple one paper? Anthony? Why did you put a staple? Yo, I know it's Monday, but here, let me help you out.
How do you do that though? He's been playing too
Here
much
we go,
Wake up.
there you go.
He's been playing past his PC window.
Everybody, did y'all staple?
You got the password?
Yeah. You figured out the password?
Just wait one second. Other one. First finger. There you go. No, first finger. Take the wheel. We do not take one single paper.
But right now, so I don't know where, no, I'm not seeing those units I can't go.
Can y'all staple?
Oh, I can find my sister.
Why didn't you want to do that earlier?
So right now first.
Staple your paper. Whoa.
I remember I sticking my finger in this class.
Good.
You broke.
Your thing was always breaking that.
All right, let's go ahead and go over these last. You need 30 more seconds? Okay, I'll give you 30 more seconds. Maybe more like a couple minutes.
Yes.
What do you mean? It has not been 30 seconds.
Is it 30 seconds?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, make it.
Y'all are the most loudest whisperers I've ever met in my life.
The linear and non-linear ones easy, but the part where you have to identify the graph ones. Yeah. I never learned it in seventh grade, so I just know where it is.
I chew. Why you so behind?
Kennedy, did you ever get a rookie wall?
I did not.
Get that red in my head.
I know, right?
What do we do after this?
Work. All right,
Okay.
let's go ahead and go over this then. So someone help me identify the line or the graph, sorry.
Sam.
Show me how to bring forward. All right, Ariana.
Section 1 is decreasing.
Okay.
Section 2 is increasing.
Okay.
Section 3 is constant.
Okay.
And section 4 is increasing.
All right. So intervals for section 1 and 2. Sebastian.
Section 1, you start at 0 and you go to 3.
Okay.
And end at 3. And it's linear.
Okay.
And then section 2, you start at 3 and end at 6. And it's linear.
You should
I'm
All right. Ellie. Section 3 and 4.
And for section 2, you start at 6. And you end at 8.
Okay.
And it's
How do you know?
this is straight line.
Okay.
And in section 4, you start at 8. And
Okay.
what's so funny?
Andrew, you have a hood on in my class. Ellie, is it linear or non-linear? How do you know? Okay. Anthony, tell me the rate of change.
decreasing, or section 1 is decreasing,
Okay.
section 2 is increasing,
Okay.
section 3 is a constant,
Okay.
and section 4 is increasing.
All right. All right. Last graph. All right, Soraya.
Section A is increasing. Section B is constant. And section C is decreasing.
All right. Brielle, give me my intervals, please.
For section A, it's 3 to 3. Section B, it's 3 to 6. And for section C, it's 6 to 9.
Okay. And then, are they linear, non-linear?
They're all linear.
Okay. Cam, what's my rate of change? Section A,
Increasing,
section B,
constant,
okay?
and decreasing.
All right, go ahead, glue this into your notebook.
How do you do it?
How is that concerning? That's not concerning. That's just like normal.
Only like two.
Which one did you need? This one? Sorry.
Then how do I put this? Just. I don't know what this is.
All right, what's your first name, last name? Nate? And your class is 8, so just put 8 on there.
That's a religion.
All right, listen. This is your homework. Now, you should notice something that's very different from this to what we just did. What does it not have? Sebastian.
It does not have. It does not have. Like the bottom tree.
Right. So it doesn't have like all of like this information, the increasing, decreasing part. You guys have to write that. So an example of the expectation for your homework today. So this is the first one. So you have it highlighted or annotated, whatever you want to call it with your colors that you use today. And you are explaining, so it says the graph is nonlinear and increasing from -4 to -1. So it goes from here to there. Then the graph is linear and increasing from 1 to 5, so 1 to 5. And then the graph is nonlinear and decreasing from -1 to 1. So you are describing the graphs. You are analyzing them. We just spent 40 minutes highlighting, coloring, whatever you want to call it, graphs, talking about the intervals and talking if they're increasing, decreasing, or constant. So now you're taking the information that we wrote with numbers and you're putting it into sentences. So this is the expectation. This is the first graph on your paper. I'm leaving this up. You guys are doing the rest of them for homework tonight. I think that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
5.
I think you guys have 5 altogether. 1, 2, 3,
That's it.
but including the one that I did or not?
Not including.
So then you guys have 5 to do on your own. Okay, so again, this is being left up. Write this down. This is your first one. I did it for you. You guys will have the remainder of the class period to get this done.
Go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
What's the date?
When I call your name, please come and get your paper. Raiden.
I did it.